Welcome back. This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And this morning we're going to take a look at this book right here that I got about a week ago. It was sent to me by one of my subscribers to review. And this is the 2015 to 2016 Pirate Radio Annual. So this is all about pirate radio, which you can hear just below 7 megahertz, down to about 6.9 megahertz. And it's pretty random when they show up, but typically they'll show up on holidays, like October. Halloween is a very active day or weekend for pirates, and New Year's they'll show up, but they can show up at any time, and there's a lot of them out there. It's just a matter of trying to receive them, because since it's just an individual, they're a pretty weak station, maybe 1 kilowatt thereabouts. So you're gonna have to get lucky to receive them. Anyway, let's go over this book just briefly, and I'll show you what it's all about. This is written by Andrew Yoder, and he does these about once a year. He releases these with the newest information, and this is packed with information about radios that he received during this time frame, some maybe even a little earlier. So each year he publishes a new one, so it's new information. So let's kind of go through it very quickly. I'm using my low resolution so that I can zoom in a little closer so you can see what this is all about. And I got to be careful not to show too much so I don't violate any copyrights. Anyway, so here we are. He starts off with an introduction to this 6th edition. And he goes into a pretty long discussion of WGM, which is kind of a history of radios, shortwave radios, listing, and etc. And it's pretty extensive. And he actually has the next chapter is about the WGM station. I'm not going to go into that in detail. I read first couple paragraphs and myself, and yeah, it's just history. That's not really what I was looking for. I was looking more of, what's out there in the way of pirate radio stations. So you can see he's got a lot of information. It's good information. Okay, and then he gets to, on page 31, he gets to stations active in 2014 and 15. Now, that's a little confusing because this says up to 2016. So, anyway, doesn't matter. And then he has station by station in alphabetical order. Let me get this a little closer to the camera to give you an example. There's the first one. This one is called 3885 radio. So it's actually on a different frequency than you typically receive these stations. And then the next one is all aboard radio. And then all these other pages, and there's, let's see, we're on page 31, and this is another thing you get. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And it goes up to page 225. So it's almost 200 pages of just information about these pirate radio stations. And each paragraph tells you a little bit about the station, tells you the frequency that it's on, and maybe the time it's typically on. Like I say, these stations are on pretty randomly. So let me see if I can just quickly find one that I have heard, that I remember that I heard. Like I say, these are listed in alphabetical order. progressive radio. I've heard progressive radio. And he says, you heard 10 minutes on April 19, 2015 at 0438 UTC on 6929. And down the bottom of each of the station paragraphs, it gives you either an email address or an indication that there might be. Now up here is one that actually has an email address that you can use to send them a report and get a QSL card back. So you can see there's a ton of stations that he heard and verified they were still on the air in this time frame. Now, the one thing that I think is missing from this, because as you could see, I was manually going through the pages to find one that I would use as an example. What I could have done, if it was there, but it's not there, is I could have used an index of these stations. Nice quick summary of what's in here. I think that's important to have. He does not have that. So you have to just thumb through the pages to find a station that you've heard or you're interested in hearing. So that's the one drawback. Now in the back, very back, oops, I skipped over something there. Okay. I saw something that caught my eye. All right, anyway, in the very back, he has a listing of recordings that he has made and put on this CD that comes with the book. And these are actually recordings of stations that he made while listening to these stations. And they're typically under 30 seconds, but it's the 30-second segment that identifies the station and maybe even identifies where you can send a report. So this is very useful. You throw this in your computer and you go through and play these files. Like I say, he has an index of those. That's nice. So that you can go down and find one that you might be interested in and then find it on the CD. So that's the book. I don't recall what it cost for this book. I could say it was sent to me by one of my subscribers, but I can see if I can find out and post it on this video. So that's it. If you're interested in the pirate radio, this is probably a pretty good book to get you started or just to find out more information. And like I say, the only thing that was negative to me is the fact that it did not have an index or a table of contents of the stations, so you could just scan through that index, find the one you want. Anyway, that's the show for today. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks to the gentleman who sent me this to review. Bye-bye.